Okay. There you go. All right. All right. We'll call this regular City Council meeting of January 6, 2025 to order. Thank y'all for being here. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season. Happy New Year. We'll start off with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. You are welcome to join me in prayer. We look forward to unifying our community this next year to make wise decisions that will better our quality of life. We are grateful for all the blessings of our community that we have and for the gifts of our health, our family, and our friends. Support us to set aside differences and come together and make progress for us all. May our love for our community guide and inspire us to protect those people and places we hold dear. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Jeremiah. So next we'll have the oath of offices for our new council members. So do you want all three?
New
All
council
three.
members.
There we go. I'm part of the council there.
Left hand on the Bible, right hand in the air.
We're going to do all three or one?
Yep,
at a
all
time?
three at once.
Yep.
Come on around, girls.
We'll put the monkey in the middle.
Okay.
Bible, left hand on the Bible. There you go, right hand in the air. All right, now we're good. All right, you're just going to repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of this office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect, and defend
to preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United States,
and of the United States,
so help me God.
so help me God.
As a council member
As a council member
of the municipality of Clemson,
of the municipality of Clemson,
I will equally, fairly, and impartially,
I will equally, fairly, and impartially,
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and skill, exercise the trust
and skill, and exercise the trust
reposed in me,
reposed in me,
and I will use my best endeavors
and I will use my best endeavors
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and carry into effect,
according to the law,
according to the law,
the purposes for which I have been elected.
the purposes for which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Huh?
Go back for pictures.
Picture.
Back for pictures. Okay.
Can I stand up here?
Yeah, that looks newbies.
Sweet.
Oh, right, oh,
I get to stand back here.
so,
Tell us where we're.
yeah, where are we supposed to?
Pictures. Like I would like. No, we don't want you to do that.
Will they keep, can they? Y'all all come down? Y'all are like the three tallest people that got elected.
You're coming down.
This is what I stand for.
They will all-
Yeah, I think the shortest is what? I'm 6, you're
5'11".
okay, so the shortest is 5'11".
I've been told always to be honest.
I'm tall. There we go.
You got it.
I'm tall.
Look at you.
There you go.
Awesome.
Sweet. Congratulations.
Thank you.
drill. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God. Good, we'll stick you there.
I do. As the mayor of the municipality of Clemson,
As the mayor of the municipality of Clemson,
I will equally, fairly, and impartially,
I will equally, fairly, and impartially,
to the best of my ability and skill,
to the best of my ability and skill,
exercise the trust reposed in me,
exercise the trust and repose in me,
and I will use my best endeavors
and I will use my best endeavors
to preserve the peace
to preserve the peace
and carry into effect,
and to carry into effect,
according to the law,
according to the law,
the purposes for which I have been elected.
for the purposes for which I have been elected.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you. No pictures. We're done. All right. Thank you, Jeremiah. All right, next on the agenda, let's see. Make sure, okay, next is the Mayor Pro Tem appointment. So we'll go straight into that. Are there any nominations for Mayor Pro Tem?
I'd like to nominate Lillian.
Seconded.
All right.
Well, I just want to finish what I was going to say. This is a role that I feel like honestly needs to be shared. Alicia's been doing it for 4 years, and I think Lillian has expressed an interest in doing that, and I think she deserves an opportunity to do that. It's also an opportunity for all of us, if you have the opportunity to do it, to hone your leadership skills. And through the last 12 months, I feel like Lillian has done that, so that's the reason I'm nominating her for this position.
All right. Got a nomination, second. Comments? Other nominations? All right,
Would I be able to nominate myself?
you can.
I do nominate
All right.
myself.
I have a second. Okay. All right, at this time, comments. No comments? Okay. All in favor for the first nomination of Mayor Pro Tem, please raise your right hand. All right. All right, thank you very much. All right, congratulations. And just for a reminder for everybody in the public, this is a 2-year appointment, and I think you said that, Councilmember Fulmer, about I don't know if you said the 2-year, but I think you said about the opportunity for others to serve in this role. So just remember it's a 2-year appointment. Next is public session, so just a reminder, I will turn it over to Mayor Pro Tem.
You go ahead this time.
You want me to take over? Okay, all right.
I'll be better
I like your
prepared
buffer
next
right
time.
here. Your buffer right here, I love that. All right, I'll take it. So, just a reminder, it's a 3-minute limit per speaker. So please come up. When you come up, please identify yourself, introduce yourself, or reintroduce yourself, I should say. Also, state where you live. Make sure you sign in where Jeremiah just put the pen in the paper. And also, the one thing I did forget, this is not for public session, just a reminder, there are ADA devices if anybody needs them, so please keep that in mind. Jeremiah's got them right over there. So, all right.
Yes, sir. Okay.
There is a clock up there. Just don't feel nervous about it. We just try to keep it consistent with the 3 minutes. So.
My name's Cameron Farish. My wife and 2 partners own Tiger Town Tavern downtown. I'm here about what I consider very important to our downtown district's commerce is safety and security. I think safety and security is good for business. And what we've seen is it's dark down there. And the Christmas lights show us how bright it can be and how inviting it can be when we have Christmas lights in the trees. Myself and my partners and several other operators downtown wish we could keep the Christmas lights up all year long. But beyond that, the new crosswalk further up College Avenue, and then most of the old street lights that we put up at one point with consideration to light pollution are not getting it. It is extremely dark downtown. North Clemson Avenue, all the avenues that kids are walking back to their apartments, the days are shorter and it's so much more noticeable. And I think we need to address lighting, because lighting makes it inviting, safe, and secure. And we are a safe and secure town, but it's perception, and perception is reality. And if we can address lighting change, and I know we're in the middle of the streetscape design, but if we can address lighting in the downtown corridor, and some of the other neighborhoods as well, because we did go to different street lights a while back to mitigate light pollution. And I just think that safety and security and invitingness will overrun that idea. And that's about all I have to offer. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ann Wormuth with Reefs Across America. Back from our annual report. You all have printed copies. Jeremiah has it electronically if you want it. And this year, we had an increase of 46 veterans over 2023. So we laid 1,041 wreaths over 10 cemeteries that are part of the group. Clemson, particularly, you're interested in probably Memory Gardens, and they went from 522. They went from 496 to 522. And as people of my age, the men and women we're passing away, unfortunately, at around 50 a year. So we have upped the number. And over at Abel Church, they have moved their ceremony to Sunday because they found people were shopping, no matter when we had it. And so it was kind of a captive audience. And Lawrence Chapel also did it on Sunday. So this year, we had trouble getting JROTC because they had some kind of competitions running. So Daniel High School did 3 color guards. They did 10 a.m. and noon on Saturday, and then Sunday they went to Lawrence Chapel, and they were the color guard there. And people really appreciated. These young cadets learned skills from helping with presenting wreaths, things that they would do in the military if they chose that career. And it's also teaching them to respect all of the sacrifices that veterans made. We didn't have as many volunteers in 2023. We had over 400. This year, not as much, and I think we know the problem was publicity. So I also listed for you the 2024 sponsors, and they've all signed up again for 2025. So you can see that. I'm not going to read them to you because obviously you can read, and my time is limited. But what I am coming to say is that in talking to Memory Garden, to Heather over there, she said really we need to figure adding quite a few and upping our wreath request to really about 1,080. We had one huge contribution of one time from Robin Broom in Financial Services. They invited me to come and tell their group about it, and they gave me quite a bit of money, which really helped out. So in light of that, because we had to pull from the rollover. So in order to make sure we have enough wreaths, because our program, we want to cover every single veteran, and we have since we started in 2019. So I'm asking the council, in 2024, you gave $833. I'm asking you to raise it to $850, which would bring your wreath total from the city up to 125 wreaths. So that's my request, and we're just very grateful. And I will tell you, when people hear that Clemson and also Central, the towns, give money toward this project, they're very pleased. And not all the families can be there, and that's it. If you have any questions, you have my card, and the reason the card's written on is we haven't printed them yet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melody Jones with Roots Across America, the Old Stone Church location. Last month during the fourth ceremony at this location, 135 people participated and wreaths were placed at 344 veteran grave sites. The city of Clemson provided $170, which purchased 15 of those wreaths. Each year our program includes historic tributes to several of the veterans. This year we honored the only twin veterans buried at the cemetery, Air Force Colonel and Lieutenant Colonel Elrod, and a decorated veteran of World War II who served with distinction in the famous Hells Angels 303rd Bomb Group stationed at Molesworth, England. We had a special addition this year. New Hope Baptist Church veterans were also honored in our program. New Hope Cemetery is located adjacent to the Old Stone Church Cemetery. And since the cemeteries look connected, many people did not differentiate between the two. But it was an honor to add these veterans to our ceremony this year. And the veterans there included a Purple Heart recipient and a Buffalo soldier. It is my goal to find private funding to fund the additional cemetery, but until that goal is reached, as your budget allows, we are requesting $340 from the city of Clemson for this coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Stephanie Platt. I live at 103 Mountain View Lane. I just want to thank, first off, Youth Across America for doing what you do. Because one of those wreaths was my grandfather at Old Stone Church. So I just wanted to thank you. Happy New Year to everybody. I wanted to ask and get some clarification. I heard that the city wanted to rezone both sides of Mountain View Lane to be multifamily. Is that correct?
So you remember, public comment is normal. We're here to listen, but we can get you the information. So we'll make sure we get you any information that you request.
Because I really would like to know.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, I think it's wrong to do that because, you know, Mountain View neighborhood is a real old neighborhood. And as I understood it, it was both sides of Mountain View Lane before Councilwoman Cheryl's house. So that includes my house. So I wanted to get some clarification on that. And also I wanted to ask when Calhoun and Pickens Street will be repaved. Thank you.
I'm going to chime in on that one because we have the updated list on Nathan Hinkle provides. Could we update that in the next city council meeting? That would only be a week from now.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, that'd be good. We'll make sure you have that as well. Nathan, I see you in the audience too, sorry. Thank you. Didn't mean to add to your additional duties, but you have it, you're ready. So thank you. Other comments?
Robert Lee, 112 Preston Drive, Clemson. I don't have time for everything I want to talk about in this session. I'm asking to read some emails I've written that I'm going to write. But mainly I want to request that the City Council consider a referral of the matter of the equity framework and diversity and a lot of these things that in my mind are conflicting. So right now there's the equity framework, there's the state constitution, there's the city, or the city code, and there's the new ethics agreement the city has. And I see numerous conflicts with different things. So the city council is authorized to, the governing authority may provide for the reference any matters and class of matters to the local planning commission. So it's authorized to do it. I'll forward all those things. But I just think there's so many questions and confusion and language that is, I can't understand. And I think that's the proper way to do it. Because the equity framework is doing things, in my mind, that is planning commission stuff. So they're undermining, and there's no approval process for the things they are recommending, including, I think, illegal ordinance to discriminate, compelling discrimination. So I really think, I don't go on too long, but I think that is a way I request that you move forward, planning commission referral on those matters. And I'll send emails for that. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other comments? And just so everybody knows, we did not receive any online, and you do have that avenue anytime up until 2 o'clock. Thank you. Till 2 o'clock the day of our city council meeting, so keep that in mind for future if you need that. So if I don't hear any more comments, we'll close out public session. So thank y'all very much. All right, next is the possible approval of minutes from December 10th, 2024. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve those minutes as presented.
Second.
Any comments on those minutes? All in favor, raise your right hand. Did you note that Alicia wasn't here at the meeting, so I mean, I know she still can, but I've done the same thing. So. All right, so thank you very much. All right, next is reports and discussion. First is to receive a downtown building and streetscape presentation from MPS and Hogan Construction and Seaman Whiteside. Nathan, you're going to start us off.
Yeah, they asked for me to do an introduction. My name is Nathan, I'm the engineer. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to, so we had representatives from Seaman Whiteside who's doing our streetscape. Also with Hogan and MPS. Hogan is who we're hoping to do the construction. MPS is our architect for what was the police substation, but we're now calling it Downtown Informational Building. They're going to do it. So we've been working on this process for about a year with an RFP process, negotiations, award, and now we're actually into the kind of design, kind of finishing up that conceptual design. So but then we're going to come up and do a presentation and kind of talk about it. Associated with this project, there's also we found a active plume of waste that was under the building, and so we're actually working on remediating that as well. So all that's kind of going together, and then the antithesis for this project was the CDBG grant for community development. So so that's kind of why we're working to make sure this project comes into fruition.
Nate,
Yes.
there's not a presentation in here.
I emailed it to you.
It always asks if I'm Jay Bennett. There we go. Gee.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
My name is Daniel Merritt. I work with Seaman Whiteside. I'm one of the landscape architect project managers there. So what we're going to look at today is, as Nathan said, kind of a status update of where we are with the streetscape project. We'll go through a little bit of the background just for some of the new council members who may not be familiar, maybe some of the existing council members. I know it's been a while since this has been looked at, but and then we'll kind of show you where we are at this point. some of the feedback we've gotten and some of the modifications we've made based on that feedback, and then what our next steps are moving forward. And then I'll turn it over to NPS and Hogan Construction to talk about the building itself. Go ahead, Andy, if you will. All right, so existing conditions of the downtown Clemson streetscape, we're all pretty familiar. I myself was a student here back in the early 2010s, I guess. Spent a fair share of time downtown, as we all do. The conditions right now, there was a streetscape improvement project done many years ago. Right now, the materials and the design are kind of age dated. Downtown areas, particularly college towns, take a lot of wear and tear. So it's time to kind of give this an area a refresh. Plus, there's concerns that we've heard from many people about things like lighting, parking, traffic, narrow sidewalks, that sort of thing. So that's what we're trying to address here. So a little bit of the history of this project. So back in 2018, the city adopted a overall downtown corridor master plan. This was done by another consultant, but included everything from 93 at the university all the way out to Tiger Boulevard 123. So that included all of the College Avenue area. This was the master plan that was created and approved by council back in 2018. I won't hit on all the key features there, but some of the goals of that master plan were to deter cut-through traffic, improve safety, and make wider sidewalks, make the downtown of Clemson a pedestrian core. And so the area that we are specifically looking at as part of this phase is what is shown in the red there, and that's the area which is what we kind of really consider the true downtown of Clemson, or at least half of it. So this is the primary area that we're looking at. I think most of us would consider this, downtown Clemson. This slide is really hard to see. I apologize for that, but what we're doing here is this is the existing survey. So one of the things that we did was we took this particular area, we had a full survey done of that showed everything that was visible and not visible, i.e. underground utilities. One of the things that was found, as Nathan mentioned, was a underground polluted area, a flume that's kind of leaching into the groundwater or leaching into the soil. So that's being addressed as part of this project as well. So you're going to ask why I can't line text up horizontally. There's a reason for that. We're trying to keep everything in the same orientation, but this was an enlargement of the master plan. So some of the things that you'll see here, and again, this was done by another consultant, but some of the things you'll see here are newer street trees, bigger street trees, new sidewalks. They're reducing the amount of pavement or vehicular pavement, so the road widths here have gone down, the sidewalks have gotten wider, things like upgraded lighting, etc. One of the big things that they do show here is all new pavers downtown and the sidewalks. One of the things that we heard from the city maintenance staff is that those are a nightmare to maintain. They don't age well, they get unlevel and people trip over them. So some of the changes that we have made from this approved master plan reflect some of those comments that we've heard. So what we did was we took the area that was surveyed, we took the master plan that had been approved, and we took comments that we have gotten from the city staff and some of the downtown merchants, some of the residents of Clemson, and we tried to make the plan into something that's becoming more realistic. So one of the things that we've done here is in this version of the plan, you'll notice all the on-street parking is gone. That was part of the approved master plan that was done back in 2018. We did swap out most of the pavers in the sidewalk to something like a scored or saw cut concrete. It's going to be easier to keep clean, lower maintenance. We did keep some accent bands in there. One of the big things we've done for safety, and in light of the tragedy in New Orleans this past week, it's very important, is introduce things like removable bollards so that the downtown can be barricaded off from vehicles in the event of a pedestrian, event. So we took that plan that was up there.
So I was trying to show you the bollards there. I think-
Yeah, they're a little hard to see. They're there at the intersection at 93, and then there are more bollards further down in all the side streets. So the goal is that when the city shuts down College Avenue for a pedestrian event, that these can be placed in place by city staff or police. The street can be shut down. It's safe for pedestrians, and then when the event's over, they can be removed and the street opened back up to vehicles. So we took that layout and we met with the downtown merchants. We were hosted at Tigertown Tavern, graciously. And a lot of the downtown merchants were there, business owners. And some of the concerns that they brought up with that existing plan were concerned about the loss of parking. Obviously for the retail businesses, that's very important. There was a big concern about the loss of loading areas, loading and delivery. And then, again, safety, lighting, and pedestrian areas. As we all know, not just during game days, downtown can get pretty crowded. So we took that plan and we adjusted it, and this is the plan that we're looking at today. So some of the bigger changes here are the parking on College Avenue to the north side there. We've added that parking back into the plan. We've also designated that area, talked to the merchants that can be used for loading and unloading early morning hours, late night hours. When a lot of the stores and restaurants get their deliveries, that area can be dedicated to that and then open for public parking. The Clemson Information Building, which Hogan and MPS will get to shortly, is shown on there. There's also more delivery access that's been added on Addison Street. One of the big things that we still have done here is remove the turn lane, multiple turn lanes in downtown. The first one that you'll notice is at the corner of 93 and College Avenue. So if you're familiar, there's a little bitty turn lane right there. Really doesn't stack many cars at all, maybe 3 or 4 cars can stack there. And that really pinches that sidewalk down right there and creates a safety concern. So that has been removed here. The pedestrians crosswalks there at that light have been reconfigured a little bit to limit crossing times. And the bollards, the removable bollards are placed at that intersection as well. The other big thing that we've done is where the existing turn lane is on the Sloan Street, because right now Sloan Street is a one-way street going away from downtown. So we are looking at the option of reversing that one-way section of Sloan Street. So doing that does a couple of things for us. It enables us to eliminate that turn lane, turning left from College Avenue, which is a major pinch point. And as part of this project, we did have a traffic engineer do a traffic study, and we ran this thing with all different scenarios, with removing lanes, adding lanes, assuming build out in 10 years, 20 years, assuming current conditions. One of the biggest pinch points that kept coming up was that turn lane on the Sloan Street, because if that thing backs up past the stacking that's in that little lane, it bogs up all of College Avenue. So by eliminating that turn lane and reversing that little section of Sloan Street, we can solve all those problems altogether.
Couple questions.
Yes.
We would just reverse the parking, I guess, the parking direction on Sloan to avoid losing parking there.
We would.
So that's not a problem, and that keeps everything a right turn on that side of the road. Andy, I had pitched the idea at some point about making North Clemson Ave from Hillcrest to College Ave one way as well. This could possibly maybe be worked into this if we found that it would be beneficial to do so. Although now I'm seeing that would mean maybe less beneficial if we did that to Sloan Street. It was just an idea to avoid people coming out of North Clemson and turning left across a lane of traffic.
Yeah, we're welcome and open to all ideas. Again, this is not by any means set in stone. This is a kind of a style.
I don't think it changes anything here. It's just an idea.
I guess I have a similar issue. So if you turn Sloan the other way, so you can't stop the left-hand turns going up College. So I still wonder how much of a bottleneck that's going to create by doing that. Trying to come across and come out. And Lillian, when you're talking about turning the other into a one-way in which direction? Coming towards or away? Hillcrest to,
I guess, I don't know, I don't remember. I'd have to look back. I had pitched this idea to Andy months ago, and it was just like this idea that I wrote down. But it was kind of in line with the turning and figuring out how to avoid backup. I think it was going in,
you're going away?
going away from downtown,
Right.
one way. I think the reason the idea came up was because maybe there was delivery or something, and that turn is so sharp that if it was one lane and you kept the width, you'd have either parking or delivery and then driving.
And maybe you could add a little parking, because that also would, down the edge of coming out, trying to go left or right, would slow down. I got one other question. So, those colors there were essentially a kind of crosswalk. Are they gonna be raised?
So we met with the university to talk about the old Greenville Highway, the Highway 93 intersection. That is, there's good news and bad news on that, because they kind of control that section of the road. The good news is they want to raise it, and it's in their plans to raise that intersection eventually. The bad news is the timeline for those plans are, who knows? It's not their top priority.
But even, I guess the question I had, even if you just, the crosswalk was raised, that would be a speed, kind of a speed calming device there. And also the one there by, where Cameron's place there, kind of, you see that piece there.
Again, down by North Clemson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the one at North Clemson is a raised crosswalk.
It will be raised.
In this
Right.
plan.
Okay,
Yes, sir,
that's super.
it is.
That's super good. Now, I got one other question. I guess this is money. So you're gonna put in, the balusters, they're gonna have to be put in. I thought we had talked about getting those where they just literally came up out of the ground.
So we talked about, we talked to several people who have put those in the past, and they have had a lot of problems with them. You know, water that sits in there, you get a cold day like tonight, they freeze, something messes up, you go to raise them, and only 3 of the 4 pop out of the ground, so.
Well, then I guess those could just be stored at the downtown information center.
Doing it?
They could be stored at the new information center downtown and be close.
So one of the things that's not shown on this plan is, again, in light of the tragedy in New Orleans, looking at additional areas where we could place removable bollards if needed to really kind of lock down this area from a vehicular standpoint. So we're still exploring that. That's not shown on this plan. That was kind of a late add, but again, that's on the radar. And by no means is this plan 100% set in stone. Again, this is kind of we've advanced the plan from the master plan to making this thing real, getting it, kind of lined out in real time.
How many spots, parking spots did you put back on parallel?
So with this, with the initial master plan, I think there was a loss of 20 some odd parking spots. With this plan as shown today, there's a loss of 9 parking spots.
So you put back 11 spots.
We put back, yeah, as many as we could, and still maintain the goals of the project. So, let's see, Alex, did I miss anything? Oh, yeah. One of the things that we also explored at depth in the master plan was bicycles and how bicycles and cars interact with students and residents, for that matter, coming through downtown. There was a lot of exploration into dedicated bike lanes. What we found and studies have found is that if you have a dedicated bike lane but you don't have an actual physical barrier between cars and that bike lane, it just becomes a wider road. Because of that, we did not have the space to really separate the bike lane independently of this. So because of that, we made the decision that hopefully we've added enough traffic calming, and our goal is to add enough traffic calming that we can share bicycles and, vehicles and vehicular travel in the same travel lane. Those are called sharrows. There's a technical term for it. But what that does is that enables us to really widen those sidewalks out and get the most pedestrian space possible without compromising traffic flow. One of the big goals of the city and of the master plan is to, and this is a long-term goal, obviously this is a piece of it, but is to eliminate cut-through traffic downtown. I know that's easier said than done, because I've had cut through here plenty of times myself. I'm just as guilty of it, but that is a longer-term goal of the city. So, hopefully this is a step in the right direction. Go ahead, Andy. So, by no means is this the final material selection at all. Just trying to give you guys an idea of, what the crosswalks could look like. These are the bollards that are used at the business center. Are those the ones we're gonna use? We don't know yet. It's gonna depend on, more decisions to come down the road. One of the things, like we talked about, was switching out the pavers in the sidewalk to scored concrete. We've seen that work. It holds up well. Our offices in downtown Greenville, if you're familiar, their sidewalks are saw cut concrete. They've been there for years. They take a lot of abuse, and they're easy to repair, replace. They don't move like pavers do. Also trying to get as many street trees downtown as possible. There's a little bit of a conflict there between business owners who obviously, and for good reason, want their business signs to be visible, but also wanting to improve the pedestrian experience. So we're walking that kind of balancing act there, but we think there's a way to improve the tree canopy downtown. And again, the bike lanes kind of shared with the vehicular access lane. It can be done, it's been done successfully in many places in the past. So just to kind of put things in a little bit of perspective, this is the existing conditions on the left there, the proposed improvements on the right. The biggest thing you'll notice there, other than the material change, is the wider pedestrian sidewalks, and that was one of the primary goals coming out of the master plan that we have kind of incorporated into this. And we had a discussion slide in here, but actually let's save that to the very end because I do want to give the building crew time to speak about their work as well. So unless there's any specific streetscape questions, let's just hold the discussion until they finish, and then we can all come up here and respond.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Austin Eccles with Hogan Construction Group, and
Mike Gall with McMillan Paz & Smith. We're here to entertain you.
yeah. So our team was selected after the RFQ and RFP process for the kind of vertical component of this project, and we started out thinking that the scope of work was one thing, and it's morphed, but Mike's done an excellent job of rolling with the flow, so to speak. I almost said punches, but it wasn't a punch. And so I'll let Mike do his architect thing and walk us through his ideas.
There you go.
We had numerous meetings with city staff, so this is an evolution.
Well, that's what I was going to say. As Austin mentioned and Daniel mentioned earlier, Nathan mentioned, this project's been going on for about a year now, meeting with staff, talking through program not only related to the streetscape, but also the components of this building. We always start projects really large, and then we work to get them into a reasonable fashion, and that's where we are right now. Like the streetscape project, this is still in its schematic level of design, so again, this is a great opportunity for conversation and input from other folks who might be using the facility. As we all know, the site is the old information building site, which is obviously no longer there. So we're proposing a footprint within that same boundary of property lines that faces obviously College Avenue, but provides a front porch, if you will, that will allow for city events or public gatherings during game days or holiday events. The program of the building is fairly small, but I think it provides a nice little jewel in the downtown area. With the program, we are providing a good amount of storage, as mentioned before. So the bollards, if they are the removable type, would easily be able to be stored in the back side of the floor plan that you see here, as well as tables and chairs and any other items that the city may need to keep handy for special events in this immediate area. As you can see, we're also providing or proposing 4 public bathrooms. These would be available on a timed system that, I think we're still working through the logistics of that. but similar to other downtown areas, these facilities would be open to folks visiting Clemson downtown during the daylight hours, and have an opportunity without going into some of the merchants and bothering them for restroom facilities. So right now we're providing 4 unisex toilets that again would be right off the Addison Lane and in a newly developed plaza space that also wraps around the front of the building, again providing that sort of front porch, if you will, for the building. If we go to the next image, I think we can. So from an elevation perspective, and let's just go to the color ones, that's no fun. From a design perspective, really, we just want this building to fit nicely within the downtown vernacular. So proposing a nice mixture of red brick, nicely detailed construction, and then some nice open glass into that main lobby space. You'll also see a couple blank walls that have the wonderful opportunity for public art. I know that there was a great mural on the old building, and we'd like to be able to provide another canvas for another installation. So that back wall that you see on the left, which frames and screens the backside of the building and corners the entrances into the public restrooms, I envision that wall to be a nice mural that is commissioned by the city that really sort of creates not an inviting place to the toilets, but a comfortable place going to the facilities. Again, Addison Lane would be on your left right there. So really this is trying to open it up and make it feel like a safe, comfortable place for the citizens of Clemson and visitors coming in on game days. You can see sort of the front knee walls, that's framing what would be sort of that front porch. We've envisioned, for music nights, I hear that's a really popular event here in the downtown area. Setting up a stage within the boundaries of those knee walls, just give a nice framed location to set up a stage for these events. And then of course College Avenue is right in front of us. Again, it's a fairly, I don't want to say simple program or simple building, but the reality of it is, it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think, as long as the detailing and the scale of the building fit within the rest of that downtown area. I think the others are really just a couple other angles of the building, yeah. Within the footprint of the building, as mentioned, we've got the public restrooms, large storage area for the city. There is an open office space for police or other folks to use during special events. And then about a 400 square foot lobby space at the front of the building, which could act as a multiple could have multiple uses, whether it's a special meeting, community gathering, art exhibit. Really, it has a lot of possibilities, but it also becomes a command post during large events, so that our first responders have a comfortable place to make base camp during special events.
And you were mentioning public art. Nathan had reached out to the arts department as well about the vertical.
Yeah. So you see a vertical line. If you go one image up, there we've sort of held off that vertical side on the left there that could house special banners or interchangeable banners. It could be for the holiday season or the football season, but again, just integrating multiple ways to provide some artistic flavor to the space.
So I know that there had been, in various discussions we've had, this meets the program that has been stated by the current needs of the city. It was floated out there kind of in passing, and then some people latch on to, hey, what if we do that? Maybe a rooftop viewing platform, or hey, what if we need a second story in the future? Would it make sense to go ahead and build that now? Kind of looking for some feedback on that. Even a shell space would be another $400,000, considering what you put on the side, how it's the finished materials, and just we're just looking for a little direction on how much we want to anticipate future needs versus addressing stated current needs.
Well, I guess we liked last time we all talked the idea of being able to add, but I don't know that we had any official idea, of a timeline or materials or anything like that.
About 400,000 to $500,000
Right.
in cost. And then if you delayed it for later, you'd probably shut the building down, take it out of commission for 9 months.
The cost might be higher then as
The
well.
cost would probably be higher, and you did it, but I think what they're talking about is just building the second level. But it would be an empty shell, storage, something like that, and then maybe an outside corridor for the elevator. You would have to have later, like if you were gonna use it, you'd have to put the elevator in now. So pretty much, I think you have to.
$90,000.
You would have empty space doing nothing. It's kind of like my pickup truck, it hauls air. It's like,
But it's $400,000 a day, and you did it 5 years from now, it's gonna be $1 million or $1.5 million.
Easily.
So-
And, yes, sir. I didn't mean to interject, but the roof structure would, if we build it without a second floor now, you would not want us to build it with anticipation of adding a second story in the future because of the way that the roof structure would be designed.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it would.
It's a now or never. It's
Right.
either one story or it's.
I don't say it's now or never, but it wouldn't be irrational to to think that you're going to add a second story simply in the future.
So how much would the design for the lower level change adding in the elevator, or do you already have an idea on where that would fit?
Right.
Well, we would certainly lose square footage.
Right, but
Yeah.
not anything drastic, I would think.
If you want to go back to the plan.
My only issue, I guess I had thought that the front area there was gonna be somewhat of a welcome center. That, we would, whether it was a man's welcome center, because you can go in some of these state welcome centers now as you drive around, and some of them are not even manned, but they have material there that you can take away. And I guess I had thought that maybe that front lobby area, which is 314 square feet, and to me, is that big enough? I don't know, for that particular purpose and all. But I think just to have that open area there and do nothing with it, I think would be wrong or crime as far as we're concerned. We gotta do more than that with it. So we've talked about that. The bathrooms are great. We gotta have the bathrooms. So, and I don't know, if Lindsay was here, she'd probably shoot me, but is 524 square feet of storage what we need? Is it too much? I guess what I'm trying to say, is it the right amount? Is it too much?
Well, so if we're gonna add the second level and have additional storage up there, we could eat into the storage level at the bottom for stairway and elevator.
Yeah, the stairway and elevator are gonna have to go into that space.
Well, the elevator would definitely go in that storage area. There's no doubt about that.
Then you keep the lobby for the flexibility of whatever purpose, and you have additional storage up top, offices, whatever. So that makes sense.
Plus, it'd be cool to put the stage up there for the band.
Now you're treading into liabilities.
It's just the band. It's just the band.
Yeah. But I
kidding.
guess dollar-wise, Andy, are we ready to have that conversation about hey, you guys go do this? Go design this?
Yes, I got that number this afternoon. I haven't looked, I had enough in there to do this program and all the streetscape work between Addison and North Clemson.
Right.
So we had a complete project. I just don't know what that cost impacts that budget.
Okay.
I have two questions. Regarding the second story, this is actually referencing Mr. Farish's comments earlier in the previous meeting. We need as many public restrooms as possible downtown. This is 4. If you shelled in the upstairs as storage, could you possibly put more than 4 restrooms for the public? Or could you make that private restroom also a public option? I know that's really difficult to think about sharing a public-private restroom, but I think
These are our only public restrooms downtown. They've already heard what a critical need this is in a community. So that's just food for thought.
No, it's true.
Yeah, there's no magic number to the amount of public toilets that we would provide. I mean, by code for a building, there's calculations that we run that tell us, really how many toilets to provide. For a public installation like this, I mean, it's how many do we want to pay for? And so I guess that's where we would just require guidance from you all to tell us, 4 is great, we want 8. That's fine. We've got space to accommodate that, but we're going to lose other program or the cost is certainly going to go up. So that's the balancing act that I guess we would rely on guidance from you.
If y'all wanted to do the building with the second floor now, you could do that and then come back and do all the streetscape at one time the next summer,
Okay, I hear you.
which would kind of be ideal. I mean, instead of doing one little section and then closing down another, you just.
And that makes budget sense, based on what you're saying.
I just have to find that much more money for the next,
Yeah.
for the next year.
To say that,
But I mean, you've got that funded
that
if you
building
wanted to.
be available this coming fall? Doing what you just said. I mean, not do the streetscape, but just do.
Yeah, because you can do this in normal time. You don't have to do this just over a summer because it's behind the sidewalk. So yeah, less than a year.
I mean, that's probably the ideal thing to do.
So I was at
Well, how long does it take you to get the construction documents? You've got the program and everything.
Well, revising this, we would, I mean, it's going to take a little bit of time, not a lot of time. It's not a large project, but
It's a
not next week. I'll say that,
Tomorrow.
not next week, not next week.
And it would have no impact on the art center that we're also, so there would be,
Separate.
no, I mean, it's separate, but still there's dollars and just trying to be.
You can do the building with the dollars you have allocated to the project now. You wouldn't have to rob Peter to pay Paul to get the entire building. He just wouldn't be doing that small bit of streetscape stuff between North Clemson and Addison. You just put it all in, what you have all into the building and doing the second floor with a shell. Then we'll come back and
the following year.
Do all the
Then come back.
go from 93 all the way to North Clemson.
See, I think that makes sense.
But then you'd be able to do that maybe the fall, say 26, 25, 26.
I hope we're able to get a bond enough to where we can do it the next summer as scheduled.
Okay. That would be the idea.
So I was, go ahead.
Sorry, how is money allocated to do the maintenance for this? Like, is there gonna be a staffing position to take care of maintenance on public actively used bathrooms?
We would have, we would get with our janitorial contract, and I'd add that to their contract for the outside bathrooms.
Because I would imagine that's gonna be multiple times a day. I mean, that's gonna be a regular routine.
Depending on the
Well,
time of year.
what you need to understand, it's not gonna have the hours that we would like for it to have. So, last time we talked, you were talking about closing it like 7 or 8 o'clock or something.
Basically retail hours, but maybe more like our downtown, 8 o'clock.
Right.
Something like that.
So, that was my worry.
So
But
then
I mean,
this-
I don't think you can get around it, is that, I mean, if we don't have, if we can't keep these open past 8 o'clock at night, then they're gonna continue to use the Lutheran church. And, behind some of the other places too. But I mean, again,
Like when you have alumni events and stuff downtown, this is all closed.
Well, I would think we would, if it's a city-run event, we would have it open, I would
Right.
think.
But just every Friday and Saturday night, when
Right.
you stumble out of the bars at 2 o'clock in the morning, if they haven't, that's one thing I told Cameron, we need to have a last call for the bathrooms before they leave, not a last call for alcohol. But the reality of it is they do.
Yeah, and I'm not against it, I'm just, I mean, it's a lot of maintenance when you got a lot of people in downtown. It's a lot of maintenance, yeah, and that money's gotta kinda get
That would be doing
baked
football.
into the,
Well,
So, you got a lot of people downtown.
we'll also just people downtown and they're not doing,
Not for the bars.
you know, they're not
I
going.
don't want to build them and then not be able to maintain them at a rate where it's
Yeah,
respectable to use them.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, this is a start. We gotta remember.
So I was at the merchant meetings, and a lot of this feedback came up, so thank you. I don't think I've heard anything on the backside of this building. And any thoughts? And how much
That's likely gonna be where your
open space?
your commercial sanitation.
Okay.
Notice there's a whole lot of roll carts in that
Yeah.
area now, and a lot of businesses use that for their sanitation. The dumpster, there's cardboard, and several roll cars.
And changing up the parking as well.
So we have to, but that'll all go behind there, so it won't be like the first thing you see as you drive down.
So it'll be the same stuff, just improved.
And it'll be covered, so it's, yeah, aesthetically pleasing. Okay, gotcha.
That's part of the function of that screen wall.
That big wall.
Block the ugly.
And Robert, there's envision of a plaza.
That's where I was-
Turning into a plaza.
Yeah, that's
There
where I
would
was
be
going.
a
If we
loading
could,
zone
if we
/
could increase a little bit of the open space, that'd be great. But I'm just trying to envision that. Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's where a lot of our work sort of blends in with what Seaman and Whiteside is doing as far as the streetscape. I'm bound by the property lines here, but obviously we want all of that to marry up. And yeah, the idea is the intersection of College and Addison right there, really back to where we're providing that screen wall, could become a nice plaza space, and then everything else, all the back of house stuff is back of house.
Appreciate it.
And I would like to verify the budget with you all after, because we did receive a grant, that's a 50/50 match grant for $750,000, but it's just for the streetscape.
Right.
So let me verify the timing of the grant as well as those dollars to make sure that that's possible.
So do we need to wait for that to make a recommendation on what we want them to do?
Let me get that to you and we can discuss that next Monday at the next meeting.
Right, we don't have to make any
Probably talk about
decisions.
that next Friday.
Yeah, so we can follow up after that.
When you were talking about the lobby being used as a welcome area, were you thinking of someone manning it or just having, or you were just?
Well, I mean,
Go ahead.
combination of maybe both, but I mean, I think now as you travel around, you see these types of situations where they provide you what you want, but not necessarily have to man it all the time. But I think there would be times, maybe when you had a lot going on downtown, you would want to man it.
Sure, okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you
other
all.
questions?
Have a nice evening.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great evening. So the next item is to discuss expanding the scope of the municipality overhead to underground conversion program with Duke Energy to include the burial of the secondary line from the service pole back to the transformer pole if feasible.
Thank you.
Yes, Ally.
So back in July of 2022, we launched the program with Duke to allow residents to apply to put their utility electric line from the actual utility pole to their meter box underground. And so I've included some numbers. Since we started, we have had 115 submissions. Of those, 32 went through the process. We have 29 pending and 54 decided not to move forward. There's various reasons for that. But we did increase about a year ago the stipend from $1,500 to $3,000, which covers the majority of cases. If it's, they have to bore under the road and it's 500 feet, then it might not cover it. But for most situations, it does cover it. But we did hear from owners that went through that they would also like to be able to bury the secondary line that goes to the transformer. And so after talking with Duke, that is something we are able to use these funds for. So we just have to send a letter requesting that change. So we agreed that it made sense. They said it could add $800 to $1,000 depending on the distance, but they still think that most of it would be able to be covered with the stipend.
I know after the hurricane came through, we had conversations about why people might not have moved forward with this, and usually it was not anything that we couldn't cover. It was because they would have had to increase their homeowner investment in their home to match what was going to be done for the improvements. So I think this would give a lot more comfort to homeowners who are looking to do this, to invest that money in their own home, knowing that we're going to back it up, and that this might give some longer-term safety to natural disasters or things like that. I think this is kind of a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Other comments? Appreciate all the work.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's a good, great
That
program.
money, if you don't use it, it rolls off.
I know. What's the time frame on that?
It's like 5 years.
5 years. And what's the balance?
30, that's what I was thinking, 330,000.
Appreciate it. Any other comments, questions? Thank you again. All right, next, staff reports.
Alec has an introduction to make.
Yes. So today was our Public Information Officer's first day, so I'll let Bree come up and introduce herself, tell you a little bit about her and what she's going to be doing.
Hi, my name is Bree Sanders. I am the new Public Information Officer. I worked for the past 10 years with WSPA, Channel 7 in Spartanburg. Worked in the marketing department the whole time, from intern to employee. And yeah, just still attending my first day here and excited to be on board. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Your normal day is not going to be till like 7:30, right? So don't worry.
It's fine.
But we appreciate you sticking with us today. So
Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
That's very
Welcome.
exciting.
We're very excited. We were talking about this earlier. I think we've been asking for the role for 5, 6, 6 years.
Wow.
Okay, I didn't mean to. I'm just saying things take time. This is a good thing.
We have a lot of great ideas.
Yeah. So we love it.
Just waiting
this
for
is
her.
Very excited. That's right. We were waiting for there you go. Love it.
The only other thing I would say is remind you that our next meeting is next Monday.
Next Monday?
And
Oh, because of
5:30.
the holiday on the
5:30, because we have a public hearing on vested rights as well. So Stephanie won't have to wait long on the paving cycle. Where is she?
She went
She's
home.
right. But thank you both for doing that, Nathan. All right, no other reports? All right, next policy action. Just remember, for comments, 2-minute limit per speaker. First is consider first reading of a text amendment to Chapter 7, Section 7-8, fixed assets. Leslie, you've already come on up and look at that. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. During the last council meeting, I brought, during the discussion about possible changes to the ordinance and also being able to have a policy that the ordinance refers to. Tonight, we are just asking that you consider the first reading of the ordinance changes, which basically, in the past, it was called a fixed asset ordinance and described fixed assets. There are more assets than fixed assets. There are intangible assets, so this would add to that. We've also had a lot of Government Accounting Standard Board changes to our assets and how we manage and account for those. And so that's part of why we want to refer to a policy, because it's a lot to involve that in the ordinance, and if we could have just the minimal descriptions of assets, and our policy is just reflected so that later you could approve changes to the policy, and we wouldn't have to go to an ordinance to make the minor changes, such as whether you have a threshold of $1,000 or $5,000 and based on type of asset. So tonight, we're just asking for the first reading of the ordinance.
Questions, comments for Leslie?
Yeah, thank you for making it easy to understand last time you presented.
And the great thing
For
is
us
you've had,
non-finance people.
the great thing is you've had our new council members here attending meetings, and they saw it in December as well. So thank y'all for being on board even earlier than your official time today, so.
And I can answer any questions based on that, but next meeting, if this moves forward, we'll have the policy along, and we can have more questions then if y'all have to.
Comments, questions from the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the first reading of the text amendment to Chapter 7, Section 7-8, fixed assets.
Seconded.
Any comments at all? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Leslie. Next on the other policy items is to consider the ACAT sub-allocation funding formula for CAT, or Clemson Area Transit. Allie.
Thank you. And we discussed this at the last meeting, but to bring you up to speed, prior to this year, we were a part of the Greenville area transportation region. Now we've moved to the Anderson region. And so this is the allocation between us and the city of Anderson to split the federal funds that were allocated. So we come up better in this scenario than we did in Greenville. So it's an increase this year of about $650,000 and then an annual increase of about $50,000. Awesome. So this is just approving this contract and we'll send it back to Anderson.
Any questions, comments from the public? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the ACAT sub-allocation funding formula for the Clemson Area Transit.
Second.
Okay, any comments? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Thank y'all for all the work on that. Next, consider awarding a negotiated bid for the Highway 93 Water Project 2024 to GuardCon for $856,419. 75 cents.
And not
Okay,
a
I
penny,
like that. We're
not
going
a
down
penny
to the,
more.
I like it. We're going beyond just, we're going to the
75
cents.
cents is gonna break
I know,
us.
so I like that.
I got it.
I got it. All right, thank you, Nathan. Go ahead. I didn't mean to get us off track. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
So, as you can read, we put this out to bid in May. It came in over budget. We had to go back and actually rework some things. We had to figure out. Then when we reworked it, we talked to the university, and that put it over budget. So then we had to go back and rework it again. So it took us about three tries to get a project that we thought would satisfy what we're trying to accomplish. It does set us up for future repairs and replacement. So that's kind of the goal for this project right here. It does address some of our biggest areas of where we have old cast iron pipe that's tuberculated. So you know, it's a pipe that really is flowing about a 3-inch. So it's not that it's increasing fire flow because we're not adding any hydrants, but what it does is it is providing better volume of water with the placement of the pipe. One thing to do note is on Folger, we are moving the hydrant, so we have better. We're moving the hydrant. We have where the hydrant placement is. We extended it about 200 feet. We actually cover all the homes on Folger versus having a few that would be outside our 500-foot radius. So it just moves it, but everybody is still well within coverage. So otherwise, I'm for any questions.
What part of 93 does this cover?
So the reason we call it Highway 93 is it starts on College Avenue and goes it goes towards Addison. So the way the water flows is it's everything that's down 93 from, it's basically the west side of College Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that when you said Folger, so that's,
Sure.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So it's that whole general neighborhood, and we're just working our way back towards College Avenue and replacement.
And you don't have any concerns about any more easement problems?
No.
Everything's resolved?
Yes.
Cool.
Any other questions or comments for Nathan from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we award the negotiated bid of the Highway 93 Water Project to GuardCon. You want me to say the exact amount? Okay, for $856,419.75.
Seconded.
Second.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Any other comments? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Nathan. Oh, no, you're still on.
Yeah.
Now we got, yeah, I know. Consider the award in the bid alternative of the Clemson Red Hill Water Upgrade Project to GuardCon as well for $1,077,086.
So for people who aren't familiar, GuardCon actually was also awarded our ARPA project. we got them in, we did a CMAR process to be able to get them in early. It's one of the reasons you see them as kind of consistently bidding. Every other city also got ARPA money, and it also has a contractor on board. And so everyone is very busy right now. So basically they can fit us into their schedule, and that's the reason they're the ones that are putting bid in for us. This project is upgrading the Goldman water line. So it's currently an old PVC line to a 12-inch ductile line. It's actually looking at doing some improvements for future development, as well as improving a lot of water quality. Also, the Goldman is one of the few areas that we have non-standard hydrants. So we have a very standard hydrant, so you have all the parts replacement, and you can put it on a maintenance schedule. All the hydrants there don't meet that requirement, so they actually are being changed to our current standard. And it also is on on Walker and McGee Street, improving fire coverage as well with this project. So this project is offset by a CDBG grant for the for water quality, drinking water quality. Sorry.
So that $1 million figure
Portion of
is
it.
factoring in the 600,000, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it'd be up to 477 on the city.
So it's on it's all on that one side though, as far as Goldman and Little Center Church. It doesn't cross over 76 and go into the rest of Red Hill.
Correct. Okay. So there's one line that we are working on that it actually, so the way, this old water system is always interesting, right? There's an old galvanized line that we're going to be able to actually cut off, and we're going to connect that to where it's going to be on a new DIP line that we have ran. So we're going to do that as part of this as well. So we're working. We obviously have our the knowledge that we need to be replacing this as well. But this is because of how the grant is situated. It had to be almost contiguous for everything.
But I guess I got that portion of Red Hill. Are those pipes as bad as the ones on the other side?
For this side, or I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got it. Okay.
Yeah, thank
so
you. Sorry.
In other words, you're not there yet, but you're going to get there.
We've actually done some in-house. We're doing some that's done in-house. So.
Okay.
And we're working every time we have an opportunity to kind of focus and make sure that we're improving that system, system as best as possible.
Other questions, comments from the public? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we award the bid alternate number 1 of the Red Hill Water Upgrade Project to Garcon for $1,077,086.
Second.
Any other comments? All in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Nathan. Have a great evening. All right, next is Mayor Council reports, comments, new business.
I'd like to say how beautiful the new crosswalk is on College Avenue down by Papa John's and Kiwi Trail. That is very nice. So thank you guys for making that happen.
It's not accurate.
Sorry, Karen.
When is it?
No,
When does it start?
No, it's flashing.
Yeah, it's
Well, I haven't seen flash.
It's
You've seen
flashing.
flash, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen flash.
it's nice.
It's flashing.
It's very safe.
When they put the block in, it was a little bit of, like, sometimes we run up on it. So it was good they painted around the base.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got feedback from residents, which we greatly appreciate.
I know there's
That was good.
I know there's one issue with that, and Rick actually brought it to my attention the other day. But if you're in Papa John's, there's a curb cut there. If they come out, there's a curb cut that comes out on Kiwi Trail. But there's also a curb cut that comes out on College there. And so what we've noticed is you'll have people that'll come out of that curb cut, and then they have to kind of whip it around to come back up. I mean, I'm not saying whether it's within our purview to put that curb back or not, but I mean, by virtue of it coming out like that, it's going to create some traffic issues.
But it makes it go into the other lane?
Well, what happens is let's just say you're coming down College, then you could come in on the upper end of kind of the up. Go ahead.
You better at that.
I don't have all the information, but I had a discussion with Nathan. The reason for the placement is because of the hub project and the way their sidewalks are going to connect to it. So don't know this for a fact, but I think that's gonna be addressed when that construction starts.
Okay.
So it may be resolved when that, because
Resolved
there's
itself.
supposed to be a sidewalk that goes, down Kiwi. That way that will connect to that crosswalk, and that's why that crosswalk was placed where it's at.
Okay.
So,
But it was,
that, those pieces are just not there yet, but Nathan knows more about that than I do, so.
okay.
Not my,
All right, that's fine.
alleviate your concern.
Thank you.
Can we confirm that at a later meeting? Yeah. No, and everybody's coming up. Everybody's coming
We're
up.
coordinating two projects right now with MODA going on and the hub coming, and hub's already started some of their preliminary work. So it's gonna look ugly for a while, but then it'll all tie together in the end. So,
Thank
in
you.
general, yes.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that, Nathan. Thank you, Chief.
I didn't mean to open a can of worms.
No, that's good. That's good. All right, so it's your opportunity if you have anything you want to share. New business or any comments? If not, all right. Next, consider going into executive session to consider appointments for city boards and commissions, as well as receive a legal briefing regarding case. I'm not going to read that case. You can see it on the agenda. There's two cases from the city attorney from section 3470. So would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Any comments, discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, we will be back. Would somebody like to make a motion to go back into regular session?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. We're coming back from an executive session, and we have nothing to report at this time. Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. Please have a good evening. It's late.